Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2 of this replayer between Sen and this unknown guy, just because I can't read his name here on Steps of War. Still has an Overlord here, so the Zerg player still has a decent amount of scouting, will be able to drop a Nidus Canal if he chooses to. Back over here we have more Mutalisks in the air, unit combination, 7 Mutalisks, 10 Zerglings, and that is it, against 2 Hellions, 1 Thor, and 2 Siege Tanks. So this is one of those situations where Sen has the larger army by almost 20%. Oh, never mind. Now the Terran player all of a sudden produced a second Thor, it looks like, and now moving out to take down these destructible rocks. That Thor just standing around, not doing much though, but should be able to take down these destructible rocks once. Well, I guess that Thor is just a little bit lazy. There it goes. SCB should be moving on up. Gonna probably drop a couple missile turrets here. Barracks now getting taken down by these Mutalisks. Thor is coming over to do a little bit of an engagement, trying to focus down, or just, I guess, splash down some of those Mutalisks. Mutalisks now pulling back. Singles Barracks down to 82 hit points. Will be repaired by a couple of SCVs. So, Barracks not in danger of being destroyed just quite yet. Now we have the Zerg player Sen taking this natural expansion over here on this high ground. Now this high ground is fairly difficult for a Zerg player to hold, especially once a Terran player goes Hellions, as Hellions are able to just dish out or move around the map so quickly. A single Thor and perhaps going to take down one of those Mutalisks. SCV getting taken down, but at what cost? Losing 2 Mutalisks in that whole entire engagement for the cost of 1 half-built turret and an SCV, so not a good use of resources there. So Zerg making a little bit of mistake, needlessly losing 2, perhaps 3 Mutalisks, totally did not completely see the count. Barracks still in the air. Nice to see Terran player not going mass infantry, going siege tanks, Thors, and Hellions. Now those Thors able to shoot down another one of those Mutalisks. Those Mutalisks are just being perfectly countered. We should probably start seeing some infestors coming in from the Zerg player. Already has some Zerglings and some Roaches. Zerglings, however, do not have any upgrades. So for the Zerg to really be able to take down those Thors, needs to get those upgrade. Roaches are not a good counter towards Thors, neither are unupgraded Zerglings, as the Thors have a fair amount of energy, or sorry, a fair amount of hit points and armor. So 1 armor really reduces the amount of damage. Down goes that single Overlord, and now in comes this very, very large army, and now Hellions coming in, doing some toasting as well. Thors firing back, siege tanks coming in from behind, also sieging up, dishing out that damage onto those Roaches. Roaches getting taken down fairly easily, and Sen's whole entire push will fall. Another Mutalisk is still all that is left in the air, and Siege Tank's gonna go ahead and de-siege, try to take down the rest of these Zerglings. Command Center down to 144 hit points. Will he be able to take it down? Does not look like it. The Command Center down to 55 hit points. SCV continuing to repair, as there is 1 missile turret right there. More Thors need to be trained up. Yeah. The unknown player already training up additional Thors and getting the level 1 weapons upgrade. So those Thors will be doing additional damage to those Mutalisks and also these ground units. Siege tanks sieging up over here, and now this command center really needs to be repaired. So now already getting burnt down. Really need. If he's not careful, the Terran player may lose this. Also, a couple SCVs here not repairing the siege tanks before they are repairing that command center, and that is it'd be a mistake. Command center may get burnt down. Back over here, Hellions finding the natural expansion here, but there are no drones to really torch. Hellions gonna run on up and perhaps get a couple drones here, and this may be very bad positioning for Sen. Sen's gonna lose a couple of these drones, and down they go. Command center now upgrading to a planetary fortress, still taking damage though. So I'm gonna laugh if the unknown Terran player does not realize that he really needs to repair this command center. Command center now down to 400 hit points, now getting repaired by a couple SCVs, so not in danger of getting taken down any longer. Still no weapons upgrade for the infantry, no additional upgrades from that engineering bay either. Sitting on 3 Thors, the Thors have that weapon upgrades, so 33 damage on Thor's hammer, and then 14 damage from those javelin missiles, 14 times 4. I'm not going to try to impress you with my math, because hard to commentate and do math at the same time. Back over here, Sen now having a little bit of an advantage in terms of harvesters. Sitting on 60 harvesters, and now also harvesting from this high yield mineral location. The main bases have pretty much already been mined out. Still at tier 2 for Sen. No infestation pit that I can see, anywhere on the map. So that means that those stores are still fairly safe. Out comes a very large army from the Terran. So Terran moving out with a large Thor and siege tank army, and this is going to be very, very difficult for Sen to deal with. Those siege tanks sieging up a little bit too soon, I think. Really need to move on out. Perhaps start just staggering and start stair-stepping these siege tanks into a better position, leaving half of those siege tanks constantly siege. Those siege tanks really need to be moved on in. Let's see how this is going to work. I don't know why these siege tanks are still in this position. Perhaps to take those units from the back, and I take it back. The Terran player doing a great job, pretty much destroying so many of these roaches before they really got into that position. Thor is now coming in to take down some of those Mutalisks. No additional Thors being trained up. There is only 2 missile turrets here, as that Thor is trying to move on in and trying to splash some of that damage around. Mutalisk, gonna lose. Oh, almost lost. There we go. Lost one single Overlord there, as now we have an engagement over here. Siege tanks trying to blast up onto that high ground, just out of range or out of sight range, as these units continuing to move on in. Very nicely done. Those siege tanks getting a couple kills on those roaches and units as they try to push on through. So Terran player doing an amazing mech push at this stage in the game. There's also SCVs coming in to continually repair all of these units. Hatchery is going to spawn broodlings. However, those Hellions will be able to take that down with really no issue whatsoever. One Mutalisk trying to take down one single Hellion, able to finally take it down as so many SCVs are continuing to repair, and siege tanks now moving on in. However, there's only one Thor, and that one Thor is not going to be enough to take down the rest of this army. Siege tanks may take down this hatchery, and then Sen will only be mining from one hatchery essentially. More siege tanks moving on in, but there are no additional Thors. So Sen with a smaller army, but still because the Terran player doesn't have any Thors taking so much damage, took out the Spire already, and now really needs to taking down the infestation pit in order to make sure that there are no infestors. 3 Thors now being trained up, 4 siege tanks, 5 Hellions. Army-wise, the Terran player now behind. However, Hellions coming in, torching down, really taking down the Harvesters of Sen. So Sen down to 31 Harvesters, and still that count is continuing to drop. Those Hellions should probably be focusing down some of those drones. Drones now, only 2 drones left mining here. And wow, what a hard loss. Really only mining out of this natural expansion on this high ground. He was unable, the Terran player, unable to really take that single building down. Now we have more Thors being trained up. Thors are still upgraded 1-0. No 2-0 upgrades just quite yet. A lot of idle SCVs as well. Not looking good. In comes Mutalisk. Mutalisk gonna make short work of those missile turrets. Missile turrets, both of them getting taken down. And now in comes a large army, or 3 Thors now need to really do a little bit of an engagement here. Not pushing on up. That, I think, is a mistake. 4 Thors against a tightly packed group of Mutalisks. That is your heyday. That is what Thors are made for. Why didn't he go on and engage, especially when there were still SCVs there? Losing that planetary fortress is absolutely huge. Those Mutalisks now being able to just run away because there's no building to take down. And wow, what a change of events back over here. We have the planetary, or the command center, now being lifted off and going to be landing over here momentarily. So perhaps that was a calculated risk, hoping that if he lost one command center, no big deal, no harm, no foul. Just go ahead and lift off another one and land it. There is a single Zergling here. Zerglings are upgraded 1-0 or 1-1, but that's going to get popped. There it goes. A little bit of extra firepower against a single Zergling there. And now we have siege tanks, SCVs moving back on in order to harvest once again. Also calling down 4 mules in order to get some additional minerals as well. Probably getting some over there. The main army of Sen sitting in the middle of the map. No upgrades on those Mutalisks. Army-wise, 3250 against 2650. And now we have Infestors. Infestors without the Neuroparasite research. The Neuroparasite research now finally being researched over here. The Terran player Sen was unable to destroy Sen's infestation pit at the right time. Stay tuned for